how's it going, guys? So we're at Anaheim Regionals, and I have with me
Connor Finton.
And what place did you get?
I finished second place in the tournament.
Awesome. And what were you running this weekend?
I was running Vespiqueen.
Vespiqueen.
Right.
Spicy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And what was your reasoning behind running Vespiqueen this weekend?
So on Friday, I was kind of lost as to what to play. And so I was at work on Friday, and of course, as one does at work, I posted online and said, please help, I don't know what to do. And my friend Ahmed Ali messaged me, he's like, I think Vespiqueen might not be terrible. And then I thought about it, I'm like, you know, he's got a good Zoroark matchup. I think there's going to be a ton of Zoroark this weekend.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of spent all day messaging Ahmed and Rahul Reddy about Vespiqueen, and we figured out, you know, I was like, man, yeah, this is actually really good. And so on the way here, I typed out the list on my phone on the airplane here, and built it at 12:30 in the morning on
Friday night.
Friday night, Saturday morning, and played my first game with it, round 1 of the tournament. So
technically, even though Raul wasn't here this weekend, he was here in spirit with this deck, because Raul's known for like running Vespiqueen like religiously, like
sure.
that's his deck of choice. So yeah, so great. It's great that he had some type of influence on this deck, and that it helped you get second place, which is amazing. All right, so we're gonna get into the list and see the exact 60 you're running. All right. All right, so let's go through the Pokemon lineup.
Okay, yeah. So
went the wrong way for a second.
Pretty standard here for Vespiqueen. There's a 4/4 line of Vespiqueen. It's your main attacker. Vespiqueen's attack, Be Revenge. It does 20 damage plus 10 for each Pokemon you have in your discard pile. So you know it hits really strong numbers really easily. It's got free retreat. It's all around a really solid Pokemon.
Nice.
And to complement the 4/4 Vespiqueen, I also played a 2/2 Flareon. A lot of the other Vespiqueen decks recently have been playing, it's been a 4/4 Vespiqueen and a 4/4 Flareon, but I was playing a lot more techs, and
you needed to make room.
Yeah, I needed to make space, and so the 2/2 Flareon is where the space was made. A lot of if you'll notice, the EVs aren't the energy evolution ones, because I also had to make space. I cut the fire, energy, and blacksmith combo that a lot of the decks are playing. So that's a little different. And then we have 4 Unknown. Unknown just discards itself, draws a card. It's great in this deck because it charges up your attackers.
And it lets you go through your deck.
Yeah, and it's also really good. I'm playing a Max Extension, like I mentioned, and so with Gallade, you can Premonition, and then you can draw whatever card you see on top of your deck with Unknown. That was really good the entire weekend, and then on top of the other cards I run with Maxis, there's a Marowak, mainly for Seismitoad. So if you get Marowak out, Seismitoad doesn't do anything anymore.
They're just like dirty, and then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna play all my items, thanks.
And there's also a Machoke, which is for Oricorio. So Oricorio, for every Pokemon in your discard pile, it'll put a damage counter wherever it wants. So I usually have, 15, 20 Pokemon in my discard pile, so I can't just let them be placing that many damage counters. So Machoke's a way around that.
Nice.
And so on top of being able to maxi these out, these two can also be evolved from the Ditto Prism Star, as well as the Flareon and the Vespiqueen. So it's kind of like playing, like a 5th Combi or 3rd Eevee, or sometimes it's like playing the Machop or the Cubone if you needed it.
Nice.
I also have a 1/1 Zebstrika. Zebstrika lets you discard your hand and draw 4, which is really good in this deck too, because you want to be discarding the Pokemon whenever you can. And then of course it can evolve from Ditto, and I think it evolved from Ditto way more than it ended up evolving from Blitzel. A lot of the time this card wasn't used as much as I thought it would be going into the tournament, because a lot of times you can't afford to get it out into play because of how many Pokemon you're playing and how many you need to get in the discard pile. But in some matchups, like my top 4 matchup was against Zoroark, like hand control, red cards, delinquents and stuff.
Oh wow.
So Zebstrika made it so I just didn't care that I was getting, red card delinquent, because I can always Zebstrika for 4 and draw more cards.
Right.
There was a Giratina promo that's pretty much exclusively for Trevenant.
And somewhat like
kind of Greninja, but like really just for Trevenant.
Yeah, like no one's playing Greninja.
This card, I started it once and it never got played down again the entire tournament because I didn't hit any Greninja. But if I had hit a Greninja, it would have been good. And I don't think it's worth cutting. It's still just like a really solid card in that matchup, and I think it swings it quite a bit, especially if you can get out the Giratina and the Machoke against Trevenant. I think you just end up winning the game.
Yeah. either way, it's fodder anyways. So
yeah, if anything, yeah, playing just one of weird tech Pokemon in this deck is fine because you're gonna discard them with Battle Compressor on the first turn, and it won't matter. To round it out, we have Execute. I'm playing 4 Battle Compressor. It lets me, you know, makes the Maxie's hands less awkward. It lets me Ultra Ball for discard 1. And it's just a really solid card. And then I have a 2/2 Shaman and Lele count. This was going back and forth. This was the change I was thinking about a lot before the tournament. I was trying to go back and forth between 3 and 1. I ended up playing the 2 Lele because I was playing the Maxie engine, and I never really regretted it, so I think that the 2/2 is right with the Maxie's engine. Otherwise, if I weren't playing the Maxies, I'd just play a 3/1.
Nice.
So.
Okay, so that's the Pokemon right there. We're gonna go into the trainers.
So we'll start off with my supporter cards. I'm playing 3 Professor Juniper. Professor Juniper is just discard your hand, draw 7. It's great in this deck. Like I said, you need to discard Pokemon, so there's just another way to discard cards. You know, drawing 7 is always really solid. It's just, you know, pretty standard.
Cool.
Then the rest of my supporter cards are all 1-ofs. There's 1 N. Just so you know, it's really good.
Late turn.
Yeah, late game N is broken, always.
Yeah.
And then like there are situations where like if you have Zebstrika out, you can end yourself to 1, and then it doesn't matter because you just Zebstrika.
Zebstrika could draw a bunch of cards anyways.
Chorus, just draw as many cards as there are bench Pokemon. It's really getting against the Zoroark decks that are playing Skyfield and
they
fill their
off.
bench off. Yeah, they pop off and like knock out my Gallade or something like that, but then it's fine because like Chorus for 12 cards and hit everything I need to.
To go off.
Yeah, so that's just a really solid, just another draw supporter in the deck. There's Teammates. Teammates is one of the best, if not the best supporter in the deck. You know, just it goes and grabs any 2 cards from your deck if when your Pokemon was knocked out last turn. So, you know, you go grab DCE, grab Choice Band, all these cards that you need to specifically go and find. It'll just go grab them for you. And then there's 1 Guzma. Now that was cut last minute too. I was originally wanting to play 2 Guzma and a Lysander, so I guess, but I ended up cutting it for space. It never lost me any games having the second one. There were sometimes it was a little annoying, but it never lost me a game, so I think the 1 was fine.
Nice.
And then, like I said, I've been playing the Maxie's engine, so of course there's a Maxie's and Ball Trick in the deck. Being able to cheat out Gallade is just really, really good. Gallade is incredibly strong in this deck because it's like it's almost like you search your deck for a card every turn. You just kind of put it on top of the deck. And like you know what your top deck's gonna be, or you, like I was saying earlier with Unknown, you can just draw right into those cards.
Did you ever? I know you're only running the 1 Maxis. Did you ever prize it?
I did prize it a couple times.
But did it hurt?
It was like so. Usually your turn 1 is really good if you're gonna Maxis anyway. Of course, it's like you want to get out the Gallade usually is your normal target, so you want to get it out. But it was it's kind of like a nice luxury to have, but you don't need it for the deck to function.
Nice.
So like in a deck like Archie's, you need to have Archie, you have Blastoise to function. But in this deck with the Maxis, you don't need to have Maxis to function. The deck still is a good deck even if you can't get out Maxis. So that's why the 1 is just fine. And like I was saying, the deck is really tight because there's so many 1-ups and so many little tech cards in the deck.
Nice.
And then we have our item cards. I'm playing 4 BS Seeker. It gets you any supporter cards, so it makes these 1-of supporter cards, you know, reusable.
Really good. Yeah.
It's probably like the best card in Expanded. There's 4 Battle Compressor. This deck wouldn't work without this card. It's just search your deck for three cards and discard them. Usually it's 3 Pokemon. You can also like discard supporter cards for VS Seeker. It's, you know, it's your main way of getting Pokemon in the discard pile.
Nice.
On top, another way to get rid of Pokemon and put them in your discard pile are these 4 Ultra Balls. That's the only Pokemon search in the deck, but it's really all it needs.
And also the Ultra Ball helps with the Shaman setup. So
yeah, help with Shaman setup. Shaman's very good in the deck, of course, and like with the Shaman, you often get rid of them with the Parallel City. That's kind of the whole point. So you'd have a Lele and a Shaman on your bench, and then you parallel yourself down to 3, get rid of those 2 GXs,
and then you have just 1 Prizers.
1 Prizers the entire board. So most games you'll fall behind. You won't take the knockout the first turn or first couple turns, but then you just come back and win because you have no 2 Prizers on your bench.
Yeah.
I was talking about how I cut the Blacksmith engine earlier. Well, because of that, I put in 2 special charges. The 2 was definitely necessary. With the 4 DCE, if you have to like discard 1 off early or something, then you'll run out of energy a lot of times. But with the 2 of them, I was pretty much always able to hit my energies when I needed to, and able to shuffle them back in the deck whenever.
Nice.
I had 1 Rescue Stretcher. This was actually the last card added to the deck. I added this Saturday morning after I'd already built the deck. Because the people I was talking to told me not to play it, but I didn't. I was like, I really want it. So that's why I ended up cutting. It was 3 Lele, or 3 Shaman, 2 Lele for a little bit, and I cut a Shaman for it last minute, and I'm really glad I cut it because this card was very good the entire weekend.
Awesome.
You know, just sometimes you can dig, you can, you know, push a little harder and then be able to rescue Stretcher. It was really good. Like sometimes you wouldn't want to get anything out of the discard pile, but you just go grab an unknown, and then with Gallade it just lets you go draw a card. There was a lot of versatile uses for rescue Stretcher, and I'm really glad I played the card.
Great.
Then my tools, I have 2 Choice Band. Adding 30 damage is really important. A lot of times early game you're not hitting big numbers, especially against cards like Zoroark GX. With 210 HP it's a little difficult to hit those numbers, so the Choice Bands are really good to get there. There's 1 Floatstone just as you're one switching out in the deck.
Just in case if Flareon gets pulled up or something.
Yeah, if you start something you don't want to. Vespiqueen is for retreat, which is really good. And most of the cards in the deck can attack. The only thing that doesn't have a 2 retreat cost or less is Marowak. Or sorry, no, Machoke has a 3 retreat. So you'd want to Floatstone that if you ever got it out, but it's not usually too relevant. But yeah, the 1 Floatstone was good. I would definitely keep it, but it's not like, you don't need more than the 1.
Nice.
And then my ace spec is Computer Search. It lets me, it's really good in like Maxie's decks, obviously, because you can go and like grab the pieces for it. It gets you a DCE, gets you anything out of the deck. It's really good, and it discards things too, so it discards Pokemon. And then just the energy line, it's just the four double colorless, nothing else.
Cool. Alright guys, so that was the list right there. Alright, so what was one of your toughest matches of day 1?
Day 1, the only game I lost day 1 was to Shocklock.
Shocklock.
Which is a straight auto loss. There was nothing I could do. The moment that he starts paralyzing me and de-evolving the Raichu, there's nothing I could do.
Yeah, so you're pretty much dead in the water at that point.
Absolutely. There's nothing I can do about it.
Had you Guzma out of it?
No, because they have Stoutland, and Stoutland shuts off. So Stoutland says that if it's active, your opponent can't play any supporter cards. And then he was playing Memory Energy, which lets him copy an attack on one of his lower stages.
Yeah.
And then Lillipup has an attack that lets you get 1 item card from your discard pile and put it in your hand. So you would just get Devo Spray and then endlessly loop a Raichu and paralyze you. So yeah, there was no way for me to win that matchup.
That was grimy. Yeah. Going into day 2 with Vespiqueen, how did you feel?
I felt pretty good. Most of my matchups were really solid in day 2. The only things that were unfavorable were the Shocklocks and the Zoro control decks. And I hit 1 Zoro control day 2, which was Jimmy, who I also just lost to in finals. And so that matchup wasn't great because Girafarig is broken. Girafarig just throws all my Pokemon in the Lost Zone and is kind of hard to one-shot early in the game. But so those are the 2 matchups I was most afraid of going into the day for sure. Everything else I think was pretty favorable.
Nice. Dallas is right around the corner. It is next month. It is expanded as well. Will you be going to that?
I will be, yeah.
Nice. Is this something you will play again, or now that you've kind of used it, you're kind of like, oh, I want to play something else?
I definitely am going to consider it. I think it was really good at this tournament because no one was expecting it. It was kind of out of nowhere. But I think going in, I think the secret's out. I think it's not going to be quite as quiet. I think there's going to be more of it in Dallas.
Right.
People are going to want to play it. It's not Zoroark because there's a lot of people that just don't want to play like the same deck like that everyone else is playing. So I think people are going to play this, and because of that, I think that people are going to maybe they'll just play a Karen because they can play a 1-card counter and just beat the deck pretty much. So
yeah.
I think a lot of them are just going to play.
And lots of the decks that made day 2 weren't playing Karen, so that helped out a lot.
Yeah, I didn't get Karen the entire tournament. And so I think that a lot of the Zoroark decks will just, it's a 1-card Karen to just beat bees. So I think that we'll see some more of that in Dallas. I think people will play Karen. But it's something that's definitely still on my radar, and it's something that I'm definitely going to consider playing for Dallas.
Nice. Cool. Perfect. Well, thank you so much for being on the channel. It was a pleasure. Guys, that's going to wrap it up for this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure to share the video with anybody that wants to see an amazing Vespiqueen Flareon list that got 2nd place at Anaheim Regionals. With that said, guys, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.